But her turnovers, we've all heard it. And even though Caitlin Clark is one of the greatest offensive threats to ever touch the basketball court, turnovers is one of the biggest knocks against her game. So I went on a quest to uncover how bad her turnovers really are to her game. And I gotta be honest, it changed my perspective. Hey, you, I'm a new channel. I'm trying to hit 3K subscribers by the end of October. Thank you for everyone who supported me so far. I love engaging with you down in the comments below. And give me a like, give me a subscribe. You might like what you see. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's zoom through the boring part first. I reviewed every one of Clark's turnovers this season. The way I counted points against Clark was that after a turnover, if the opposing team scored any points off that possession, it would count against her. This included multiple shots on basket, or even if her teammates fouled the opposing player and it led to a free throw. For me, the opportunity for the opposing team is the cost, and if they scored points on her giving up the ball before regaining possession, that's on Clark. Now for the fun part. Clark currently has 220 turnovers on the season, which is a league record, and off of those 220 turnovers, the breakdown goes as follows. 152 bad passes, 40 lost balls, 12 offensive fouls, 9 travels, and 5 out of bounds, which is usually just her stepping out of bounds or getting pushed out of bounds. Obviously, Clark's biggest turnover potential is in her passing game. Some of them are good plays by the opponent, poor decision-making by her teammates, or missing the pass entirely. For me, it's not important if her teammates flub the pass because ultimately, Clark made the decision to pass and fumbles happen. The teams that punished Clark the most for her turnovers were the Lynx, Mystics, and Dallas. Her worst games were 15 against the Mystics, 11 and 10 against Seattle, and 10 against the Lynx. However, in that stretch, Clark's team still went 2-2, so keep note of that. The teams that punished Clark the least for her mistakes were Chicago at 2.75, Atlanta at 3.75, and the Liberty at 3.75 per game. Although, to be fair, the Liberty number is a little bit deceiving as there was an outlier game very early in the season. I think it was the second game of the season. So how many points did Clark give up off of those 220 turnovers? The answer? 230 points, which works out to about 5.89 points a game. A player taking away 6 points from their team, even while averaging Clark's 19.5 points per game, brings her down to only 13.5 points of offense, which isn't that great compared to what we see on the floor with our eyes. But does Clark giving up a lot of points translate to her team winning or losing? Well, on turnovers alone, yes and no. Even in some of the biggest punished games against the Lynx and Mystics, like we talked about, the Fever still won. Where it really matters is against the top 5 teams in the league, since these teams are more competitive and there is less margin for error. Seattle, Sun, Lynx, New York Liberty, and the Aces are all great examples of this correlation. However, the deceptive thing is Clark's biggest source of turnovers is linked to her greatest skill, passing. Clark breaking the all-time assist record is no coincidence, and truth of the matter is that Clark's playmaking ability trumps the negative impact of her turnovers. Clark averages 18.8 points from her assists per game. Her biggest connections are with Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Alyssa Smith. Important, though, is how she has switched her targets down the stretch, still favoring Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, but switching up her targets to Smith with Hall, Dantas, and Temi. Note, while AB has 20 more assists from Clark, Kelsey Mitchell has only produced 8 less points off of those assists due to her 3-pointers. In that similar vein, Hall is actually Clark's highest scoring per assist target, and Dantas is right with Kelsey Mitchell at the 2 spot. So after all of this, what are we to think of Clark's turnovers? While less would definitely be better, the likely increased number this year is more or less the growing pains of a rookie and a young team learning to play together. The Fever as a team are averaging about the same number of turnovers as they have the last 2 years. The difference is that while Clark's turnovers cost the Fever 5.8 points, she makes up for it by averaging 18.8 points with her assists. Combine that with her average of 19.5 points and 24.3 points since the break, and you start to get a different picture. One where Clark is not only a generational offensive talent, but the difference maker for an Indiana Fever team that for the first time in franchise history is second overall in points and went from the 10th place team with a winning average of 325 to a dangerous playoff team with a record over 500. Regardless of what happens, Caitlin Clark has already made her mark on the WNBA in her rookie season, and if you want to hear the argument for why she should be the MVP, just click on the link down below in the description. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and remember to like and subscribe, and most importantly, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. Catch you next episode.